This is me playing a D&D adventure. Alone. I know, that probably sounds really weird, but let me explain. Most people know D&D as a social game, played with a group. And I've seen people say that it's sad to play D&D alone, but I just think that's a super weird take. Like, we don't think it's sad for people to play video games alone or do a jigsaw puzzle or something. There's nothing inherently embarrassing or weird about playing a game by yourself. You absolutely can play D&D solo. It's even been built into past editions of the game. And there are countless other tabletop RPGs that are designed to be played solitaire. Honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense. We all know that finding and scheduling with a group is probably the hardest part of D&D. And even if you have a group, playing solo can help you develop a character, try playing if you're normally a DM, or even just give you more D&D time if your group games aren't enough. Solo games allow you to play whenever you want and however you want, either as a replacement for or a supplement to group D&D. So how does it actually work? There are basically two different ways to play solo D&D. I made a video in 2022 about how to play open world sandbox style solo D&D, and today we're talking about the other way, solo adventure modules. We'll be playing through a solo D&D adventure from today's sponsor, Obvious Mimic. They're an indie game press specializing in solo adventures. They have two out already, The Wolves of Langston, which we'll be playing today, and The Crystals of Zaleth. Their third adventure, The Secret of Oki Island, is coming out this summer. These adventures are intended not to replace group D&D, but to complement it. Maybe game night gets canceled, or you want to play in between sessions. That's the perfect time for a solo adventure. In these modules, you create your own 5th edition character and then follow the prompts through the book. Sometimes you'll have to roll a check, so it'll say something like, roll intimidation. If you get a 10 or more, go to this page. If you get below a 10, go to this page. Of course, sometimes you'll get into fights. You can use their self-DM resources to make combat more like conventional D&D combat, with maps and minis. They even include combat maps that you can print or use in a VTT. But you also don't have to do that. You could play the entire adventure with nothing but your character sheet and a set of dice. But why are we talking about it when we could just be doing it? Let's grab a drink, get comfortable, and solve a murder mystery. What you'll need: a 5th edition character of level 1 or 2, a set of dice, this book. I will be playing this adventure as Necrasha, the half-orc barbarian. You might recognize her from other videos on my channel. Very much a hit with great axe now, ask questions later kind of character, and she is terrified of ghosts and the supernatural. Honestly, not the first character I would have picked for a murder mystery, but I polled my patrons to see which character they wanted me to play with, and they picked Necrasha, so like by a landslide, my other characters should be jealous. The Wolves of Langston. Chapter 1. The adventure begins. After a long day on the road, you crest a hill and see the lights of a town. The stars are just starting to emerge as the lone howl of a wolf splits the silence off somewhere in the woods. A chorus of responding howls take up the call, some uncomfortably close, and getting closer. A town as prosperous as Langston looks like a place to do good, earn coin, and achieve glory. Maybe all three at once, so long as you aren't eaten by wolves between here and there. Just outside town, Necrasha runs into a dwarf druid. Find the pickled red hen, and if anyone asks, tell them Roy Sunderhammer sent you. Roy Sunderhammer. I probably don't have to take notes, but I can't help who I am. When she gets into town, it looks practically deserted. You're looking around for someone, anyone, when a solitary figure in a white robe bustles out from a side street, nearly dropping a sheaf of papers. This appears to be a sun cleric. Necrasha would absolutely call out to her because she would be trying to flirt with her. Did it hurt when you fell from the sky? Because you're the sun and the sun is bright and beautiful? She has skills, but pickup lines aren't one of them. Can I help you with something, traveler? I go to the pickled hen. Perhaps this is where you also go. The cleric absentmindedly opens the door and steps into the tavern at the ground floor. Having clearly forgotten you're even there, she closes it behind her. She is playing hard to get. Turns out all the townspeople are at a funeral for a local woman, Maybelline. Everyone is pretty on edge. In fact, an old man tries to pick a fight with her. I don't know you, he slurs, stabbing a blunt finger in the air between you. Was it you? Did you do this? What else have you done? A few heads nearby turn as he throws his hands up into a fighting stance and starts bobbing unsteadily. You're at a funeral in a strange town, so violence is not an option. This adventure is really telling me my business. If violence is not on the table at all, Necrasha would absolutely intimidate him. I am not starting fights at funerals, but I assure you, I am finishing them. And then she flexes. Whew, that was a near one. I only got an 8, so that's an 11, which barely passes. He backs down, staring daggers at you, but leaving you alone. Several people get up to speak, including Maybelline's fiance, Tomlin, who is apparently very handsome, although he's not Necrasha's type. We are gathered to remember the beautiful shining light that was my bride-to-be. The next speaker in the ceremony is approaching. An unobtrusive young human woman in the vestments of a sun cleric steps up to the crowd to speak. Hey, it's my girl. I am Solane, a member of the Radiant Order and custodian of Langston's Eastern Temple. Solane. And my heart goes out to you especially, Tomlin. Know that my door is always open to you. If you know what I mean. The female half-orc in the tailored suit looks at you, eyes scanning up and down. They refer to an orcish accent as a twang here, so I'm just gonna go full southern. I'm Tanya Nathram, Mayor of Langston, she says with a nod, her common heavily accented with a guttural orcish twang. I know your type. Adventurer, mercenary, hero for hire. As long as you are investigating this young woman's murder, we will pay for your stay.
Job accepted, Necrasha reports to the mayor the next morning to learn more about the murder.
The poor girl was mangled as if by a wild beast, but she was found within town. Besides, Roy keeps the woods free of monsters and supernatural hazards.
The mayor suggests that she start by talking with Tomlin about his late fiance's final days.
We don't trust this guy. I'm gonna scope out his house. He's locked in a long kiss with a young woman, but sees you out of the corner of his eye and abruptly pulls away. That cad. His fiance literally just died. Here's the, medicine for your sick grandmother. Very convincing. We're gonna ask him who his guest was. Pretty routine, really. She's just a young woman getting medicine for her poor, sick brother. Aunt, you remind him. It wasn't aunt, it was grandmother. We're both wrong.
Tomlin tells Necrasha about Maybelline over a cup of tea, which she is very suspicious of, but turns out to be quite nice.
She didn't go out at night when the moon is full, thought it was an evil omen. Werewolves.
But even more interesting is what she learns about his history with the sun cleric, Solane.
We were lovers before her pilgrimage, but while she was gone, Maybelline and I fell in love. God, what a boy.
He asks Necrasha to investigate some mysterious scratches he's been finding in his garden, thinking they might be related to the murder, but it's just a few bloodthirsty plant creatures. Typical gardener's hazard. Anyway, she dispatches them for him.
You decide to go to the inn for a good night's rest and maybe recover from the challenges of the day so far. Gain the benefits of a short rest. Ooh, I am woken up in the night. You wake with moonlight streaming in the window. A hunched, hairy shape is silhouetted against the night sky and limned with moonlight. Whatever it is, werewolf, extends a long, powerful arm in your direction. I would want to charge outside to attack the beast, but I'm afraid it would disappear by the time I got there. So instead, I'm going to call out to the creature. Why do you disturb my sleep?
The creature snarls out a cryptic answer and then disappears.
You can now either keep watch or try to get some sleep. Nah, I'm gonna get some sleep. When dawn breaks, you climb out of bed and prepare for the day.
Necrasha spends the morning helping the dwarf druid find some herbs to cure his sickness, and he thanks her with a brooch called the Silver Star.
He unclasps the silver starburst brooch on his chest and presents it to you. This is the Silver Star, he says, a gift from an old cleric friend of mine. Add Silver Star to your inventory. A single charge of Remove Curse.
Meanwhile, the mayor has another suggestion. Go check out the suspicious strangers on the edge of town who have been making the townsfolk uncomfortable. She says it could have something to do with the murder.
The arrival of these strangers is likely related. Likely. Roll an insight check against DC 15. 17! You realize that this is probably not related to the murder you are investigating and call the mayor out. Still, I need you to find out for sure. You can either negotiate additional pay or accept the task. Yeah, obviously, Necrasha would negotiate additional pay.
On the way, she spots somebody in a forest clearing.
Sitting in the center of the clearing on a stump, you see an unusual woman. Yes! Her skin is bright green and her hair a tangle of leaves and moss. She hasn't seen you, her whole attention on a robin resting in her outstretched hand as she laughs and twitters back to the little bird. You have found a dryad. You can sneak past the dryad. Why would I do that? Make your presence known or attack the dryad? What kind of asshole? All right, pickup line attempt number 2. Roses are red, violets are blue. You are green, and I think that's hot. She is clearly surprised. The foliage that makes up her hair and clothes rustles in a breeze that isn't there. I meet you, skin person, the woman says in broken common. Sylvan speak you? Common not good me. Common not so good me either. But you probably do not speak Orcish.
The dryad leads Necrasha to the bandit camp, which appears to be empty, but she searches it and finds some useful information.
Okay, no bandits. But I have a clue, and I'm going to take it back to the mayor. Lamps have been lit inside the mayor's home and glow through closed curtains. You can hear voices raised in anger inside. Obviously, I'm going to listen at the door. Perception? Ooh, not good. You can definitely hear angry voices, but you can't tell anything about them or what they're saying over the loud barking of a dog. I guess I'll knock.
Inside, Necrasha finds 2 bandits threatening to expose the mayor's secret. She picks Team Orc, obviously, and tries to scare the bandits off.
This night go 2 ways. You leave now, you keep all your arms. That is first way. You leave later, fewer arms, probably, in picture. You choose. Intimidation. That's a 19 on the die! You were outmatched when you arrived, Mayor Anathram says to the bandits, and now you are outnumbered. That's a good line. Almost as good as my line.
Not quite as good as my line, actually, since they're not outnumbered, it's 2 versus 2. Anyway, the mayor gives Necrosha her next errand, but the cleric is out, providing an opportunity to snoop around the temple.
Okay, we gotta go examine Maybelline's body. Only the door at the end of the hall is closed, presumably Solene's room. If she doesn't want anyone coming in, she should lock it. There is an envelope on the nightstand. Given that it includes lines like, "Your toes are dainty as the red rose," and "putting pansies forever into your handsies," you can't bring yourself to do more than scan the poem. Roll a strength check to push the closet aside and see what's behind it. That's a 14, so plus 2, 16.
She finds a few interesting things and manages to get back to the front hall in time for Solane to return and direct her to Maybelline's mausoleum. Sounds like a new smoky eye palette. Maybe she died with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline. Headed to the cemetery. Poking up through the earth and bits of rotted casket, you can see a skeleton frozen in what seems like an attempt to free itself from the earth. Guess we'll go look at Maybelline's body, but this is not a good sign. The body of a young woman is lying on the white slab. You freeze as the body slowly turns its mangled face to look at you. With a snarl, Maybelline's corpse sits up from the altar and begins to stagger toward you. Fight, 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 fight! Probably takes her a second to get all the way into her rage because she is terrified.
Necrosha, whose biggest fear is the undead and the supernatural, exchanges blows with the risen corpse.
I'm gonna hit her again. Barbarians are so boring at level 1. That's a natural 1. I'm imagining just like the most timid great axe strike from a terrified barbarian. All right, she's giving herself a little pep talk. You are big, bad barbarian. You are not afraid of zombie. Zombie is afraid of you. 19! Pep talks, they always work. That is 15 damage. Oh my god, that kills her. Necrosha like nudges the corpse with her foot. You are dead now, yes? Dead.
Necrosha returns to the inn for one last rest, but she has all the information she needs.
Chapter 6, The Accusation. This is the last chapter. It seems like the whole town has arrived and surrounded the entrance, waiting for you to deliver the results of your investigation. Who murdered Maybelline? The aide asks with finality. J'accuse! A shocked murmur ripples through the gathered townsfolk. Do you have any evidence to back up this claim? If you have the silk ribbon in your inventory, I do.
I'm not going to tell you who I accused because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who wants to play this adventure, but rest assured, I was correct.
I rest my case. I think we've heard enough, Mayor Anathram says. Take into custody.
The accused transforms before the townsfolk's very eyes, sprouting fur and canine fangs, before grabbing an innocent victim in its claws and fleeing.
No, Roy gasps. Werewolf! I fucking said it. You run at top speed through the empty streets of Langston, tailing the werewolf. A man's scream, loud and high with terror, pierces the air from straight ahead, then suddenly stops.
Necrosha tracks it to its lair and squares up for a fight.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna have to kill this werewolf with a dagger. I mean, I'm glad I have a magical weapon, but 1d4 damage is not great. And I have the curse remover thingy. I'm gonna hit the werewolf with the silver star and remove the curse. It's gonna work. It's gonna be great. Oh, that's a 6 on the die. That's not great. That's an 11 to hit. I'm gonna use my inspiration to roll it again. I haven't used any of my inspiration this whole game. 8. It's not great, but it's enough. That's a 13. With a successful attack roll, go to 364. There's a loud crack and a shower of brightly sparkling motes of light around the silver star.
The werewolf's curse is lifted, and they return to their human form, and then cry about it like they're the victim here.
Yeah, cry me a river, you fucking murderer.
The mayor thanks Necrosha for her successful investigation.
But now the people of Langston can rest a little easier, Mayor Anathram says. You have their gratitude. And mine. She hands you a large coin pouch, and it's considerably heavier than you'd expected. Add 350 gold pieces to your inventory, hell yeah, and gain a level. You have fulfilled your obligations to us, adventurer, says the mayor, but I hope you will help us again. Necrosha tucks away the coin purse and is like, no, I will be leaving now. That probably is what Necrosha would actually do, but there's a whole epilogue here, like a long epilogue with checks and stuff in it. It's like a whole other chapter. And I skimmed it, even though I didn't choose that option, like a little cheater, and it's cool. It like throws some characters that you may have thought well of into a different light. I won't spoil it for anybody who wants to play this adventure. This fully transported me back in time to reading Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure books in middle school. Although I've gotten better at sticking with the decisions I make instead of trying to read every possible path like I used to do as a kid. That feeling isn't a coincidence, by the way. The folks at Obvious Mimic have said that they're heavily influenced by Choose Your Own Adventure books and the fighting fantasy series from the 80s. And to be clear, there are several different ways to write solo D&D modules with different levels of complexity and guidance. Obvious Mimic's adventures aren't written to replace group D&D, they're written to supplement it. Personally, I also think this style is really well suited to beginners, whether that's people who are new to solo play or people who are new to D&D overall. This adventure is very on rails, and that's just because of the inherent limitations of a format where every single action needs to be explicitly written up in the book. For people who want a more free-form experience, you're probably looking for solo play tools rather than a solo play adventure. But for people who aren't looking to write their own story, but instead want to experience a story through the lens of their own character, I think you'll really enjoy Obvious Mimic's adventures. It was very in-depth, around 4 hours of gameplay, and there are whole paths of the story that I didn't even get to experience. When I was playing open world solo D&D, it wasn't really possible for things to surprise me or for there to be secrets kept from me. I can simulate that kind of thing with randomly generated information, but it isn't quite the same as knowing that there is a killer and it's your job to follow the clues and figure out who it is. In open world solo play, you're both player and DM, but in a solo adventure, the writers fill the role of dungeon master, and you just get to sit back and experience it. If you want to try your own solo adventure, you can go to obviousmimic.com and pick up the PDFs or the softcover books. They're even available as a bundle for a pretty steep discount. Oh, and if you liked the spooky music that was playing during the game, you'll be happy to hear that it's available for free on their website, so you can download it and set the mood for your own game. What do you think? Would you play solo D&D? Let me know in the comments, and in the meantime, if you want to learn more about freeform solo D&D, check out this video to learn all about it. I am currently playing my way through an entire campaign in that style, and I can't wait to share it with you when it's done.